Adam Green joins us, co-founder of the Progressive Change Campaign. He's been organizing Democratic town halls in Republican districts this week. Sounds like fun, right? So, so the question is, so the town hall thing, we put that on the back burner for a second. I do want to talk to you about that dynamic because I talked to a Republican congressman, two of them actually, on the show today about, whether they would do in-person town halls, and they're not, right? But the other thing that's come up, Bernie Sanders and AOC, they are getting a lot of attention now. Is that a good thing for the Democratic Party? In other words, is that where the party really wants to be going now?
Yeah, well, 2 points. First, let me just say, as someone with the word progressive in my title.
You're going to say yes.
The answer is yes. The divide in the Democratic Party right now is not between progressives and moderates. It's between those who get it and those who don't get it.
So we
have an existential crisis of democracy right now.
So what don't they get? So, that's interesting, because, all right, so that's interesting, because I actually was going to bring this up, but I'll bring it up sooner. When we polled everybody on what the most important issues were, you saw the economy and everything else came up, and what issues do Democrats do well? Of course, abortion was one of the issues, but in the important issues, to voters, the Republicans were doing better, and that issue that you talked about, existential threat to democracy, which kind of goes back to January 6th and includes a lot of other elements, was not high on the list. It just wasn't for voters the last election. I'm not saying whether it should have been or not, but it wasn't.
I agree. We do a lot of polling. The economy is by far highest on the list. But in our current polling, not pre-election but post-election, the idea that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are violating the Constitution in order to cut your Social Security, cut your Medicare, cut your Medicaid, cut veterans benefits in order to give Elon Musk a tax break does very well.
So it's a new argument, not an old one.
It connects the dots between them breaking the rules and what they're trying to break the rules to do, cut Social Security, cut Medicare, et cetera. So I agree with you. We shouldn't be talking wonky, high, 30,000-foot stuff. We should connect it to everyday people's lives. But the reason that you see people in town hall meetings now more than you did before really the funding freeze of a couple months ago, that was the crystallization moment where people were like, oh, they're coming for our programs and they're violating the law to do it. That's what got people into the streets.
So you're organizing progressive voters to go into red areas and go to these town halls? Or?
I'm actually putting extra brain power into finding Trump voters and veterans to go into Republican districts, because we've seen the last couple of weeks that that's where their pain point is. That's why they're canceling their town hall meetings. And what we're doing is asking Democratic senators who represent Republican House districts to do events in those districts. And what we've seen is moderate Michael Bennet in Colorado, moderate Mark Kelly in Arizona, Andy Kim, who used to work at the State Department, doing it in New Jersey, going to 3 different Republican districts. And that sends a signal that, back in the day, they might have not done that because they don't want to step on toes of their House colleagues. Now they're like, no, you're going to break the Constitution, break the law, I'm going to come to your district, and if you won't listen to your constituents, I will. That's what I mean by getting it. They're willing to accept that this is a new moment, not the old playbook.
Do any of those people get paid to go to the town halls?
The people who are regular people?
Yeah.
No.
Because that's what the Republicans have been. They've been arguing, oh, these are paid protesters or paid people that go into our districts, and so that's not.
That's a talking point that they can say on national TV, but they know what's up. That's why they don't want to face their own constituents. One other thing I would add, Chris Murphy, who I'm sure you're very familiar with from Connecticut, he was on Jon Stewart with The Daily Show this Monday, and he said something that I can't get out of my head, which is, he said, the way things are going, the way they might be violating court orders and going against the Constitution, we are soon going to need to ask the American people to come into the streets by the hundreds of thousands, not the thousands, not the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands. And the reason I think this Bernie AOC set of events is so important is they're building muscle memory. People aren't just receiving a message. They're going there and looking around being like, oh, I'm with 15,000 people. In the future, when we ask them to come out in the streets, they'll be like, I won't be alone. And that's what they're doing, building muscle for future protests to come when the American people need to see everything.
I guess the one thing I would say is that has been tried before, right? I mean, everybody remembers all the people that were out in the streets protesting Trump the first time around on Inauguration Day. I'll never forget being there the day after the inauguration. I covered the inauguration, trying to get to Union Station, and the huge march, the Women's March was out the next day. So this has all been tried before, and he's back again. So it's like, will it work this time? Why would it work this time if it didn't necessarily work last time? The so-called resistance.
There's moments. That was a show of force. Even Republicans were taken aback by that. I live in Washington, D.C. I remember going by the Supreme Court the week that Roe was overturned.
Right.
And there were several hundred people there. I was like, where are the thousands, right? It didn't really feel like the white blood cells attacking the cancer. It didn't feel like the people coming out in the streets to defend their country. this feels different. And again, it didn't feel different 2 months ago. Once the funding freeze started, once DOJ started shutting down Social Security and the government, people are like, whoa, even if I voted for Trump, this is wrong and I need to show it.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.